And without further ado, our lovely Jaclyn. Jaclyn, welcome, and thank you for availing yourself this evening.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to just get to know you a bit more. Please tell the audience about yourself. Where's Jaclyn from, and who is Jaclyn Engelbrecht?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this evening. So my name is Jaclyn Engelbrecht. I'm originally from Klerksdorp. I moved to Bloemfontein to come and study at CUT, and never in my wildest dreams thought I'd end up in Bloemfontein, let alone stay here, out of choice. I studied at CUT. I did my somatology national diploma, after which I did my BTEC. And in the year of my BTEC, I decided to start my first beauty salon while I was doing part-time classes. From there it grew. From salon, we'll probably go into everything. I'm 30 at the moment. I'm a female entrepreneur. I've got multiple businesses in Bloemfontein. And yeah, I am where I am because of my team and my mentors and everyone that's been around me.
So you've always been an entrepreneur. When did that spark inside of you that, was it the fact that you couldn't get a job? Was it the fact that you just wanted to always own your own business? What influenced you to go straight into entrepreneurship?
Influencing factors, I think, definitely started at my parents. Both my parents were entrepreneurs. And when we were at school, my sister and I would do these little market days and fail miserably, and then we'd do the next market day and we'd go better. And we'll blow all our profit, and we'll do the next one, and that goes miserably again. So that was probably the start. And then school holidays, we'd work with my parents. Mostly my mom in her business. She's got a preschool. And we were always taught to work for what you've got. So it was never just handed to us. And that's probably of my biggest lessons I learned. And since school, I always said I'd have my own business. I never knew what it would be. Didn't have a plan. We all think it's easy. You're just going to jump into it. Someone's going to hand you cash. And you're going to follow your passion, your wildest dreams, and you're going to make millions. So unfortunately, it doesn't go that way. Mom was definitely my biggest fan, and she supported me in starting my first business, which was a very small beauty salon. And from there, it grew. And I was telling Leslie earlier, my life just snowballs. One idea goes into the next idea, and then that one becomes a success, and then that one grows into the next one again. So, yeah, definitely small beginnings, market days at schools and that kind of thing, and it just exploded from there.
Yeah, I think, you're saying that your mom was your biggest support. I think a lot of us face, go to university, go get a good job. You say you were fortunate in that regard. Did you have any other support systems, or was it literally family had your back and that's all you needed to keep going?
The beauty industry is not a very popular one amongst parents to go study. There aren't many opportunities. There's very few opportunities to actually make it bigger in the beauty industry. And then, of course, you've got your cliches, your little garage salons, and just working from home. And for a very long time, there's a stigma that goes along with the beauty industry. And especially in Bloemfontein, a lot of the girls that go study somatology or go study their beauty certificate at the smaller colleges, they all think, okay, what are your options? You're going to work in a salon, you're going to go work for someone, or you're going to do nails from home. And I think pretty much that's where it ends. And if anything out of this interview, I hope, especially for the young ladies in front here, that you guys can realize that the world's your oyster. It's going to be what you're going to make of it. I started in Bloemfontein. If you take the industry compared to what you've got in Joburg, Durban, Cape Town, much smaller, but I got my biggest opportunities in Bloemfontein.
So please run us through the various businesses that Jaclyn has opened over the years.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So I was joking with Leslie earlier, people still come to me and, oh, you do nails, right? I'll just say yes, because it's easier. So just stop there. So I opened a very, very small beauty salon in a hair salon in the year that I did my BTEC. And it was just myself working there. I had no assistants, had no cleaners. I was just paying rent in this tiny little cubicle. And did that for 2 years. And then I was offered a space to buy into the salon that I was renting from. And I did that, and I went into business with a partner. And I learned that I will never do it again. So did that for 3 years, but also learned of my biggest lessons. We revamped the salon. It was in Pretty Gardens, and we revamped it into a full aesthetic clinic. And we were one of the salons that were offering aesthetic services, Botox fillers, chemical peels, lipolytics, all the advanced beauty treatments. And with that, we had the hair salon that was running as well. And I did that for about 2 years, and then my current supplier at that point, Novio, was up for sale. And the owner approached me, and she just said to me that she's known me for a while, and she just feels that of all the offers she's got to buy a business, she just feels that it needs to be me to buy this business from her. Until today, I don't know why. She feels it was her fulfillment, and Novio turned out pretty much what she had envisioned for it. And from there, at that point, I was 25 years old. I had nothing to my name that I could actually use as holding for a bank that they could actually finance me to buy the business. It was way above what I could afford. My parents couldn't afford to just give me the money to buy the business. And I had this little bit of a meltdown. How am I going to do this? But I just decided I was going to do it. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was going to buy this business. And a week later, her bookkeeper phoned me, and he said to me, well, look, he's got a deal that he'd like to negotiate with me. And they called me in, and they offered me a payoff over 2 years with interest that I had to pay her for the business. It was a huge amount of money that I had to pay every month for 2 years. And I looked at the budgets, and him and I were busy looking at the balance sheets, and I realized that if I was going to do this, I could literally to the rand and cent maybe afford this business loan that they were offering me. So it was pretty much a gamble, and signed the papers. You're 25, what do you know? They can't come take your house and car because you don't have one. So went for it, took the gamble, paid it off in 2 years, and in 4 years, Novio has grown 400%. It has grown phenomenally. We started with just myself, and Sapati was our office lady. She was our domestic cleaner, turned office lady, turned my PA, everything else I needed at that point. And in 3 short years from there, I've grown to my team in blue sitting in front here. And they've been my absolute right and left hands from there in Novio. 2 years ago, I got the opportunity to go to Dubai Beauty World Middle East for the first time and go see what's going on in the international market. And I came back and I decided I'm going to do product development. Don't know what I'm going to develop, but I'm going to develop something. So started the business, Beauty Innovation, and it stood dormant for 8 months because I didn't know what to do with it. And from there, I started looking for small gaps in the market, makeup brushes that were affordable, that were of professional standard, that we're now bringing in, and brow stencils that makeup artists need, but you never find anything, especially for the range of ethnic ladies in South Africa. Stupid things like brow stencils. It's always fitted to these perfect little model faces and nothing real that actually suits our faces. So I designed a bunch of stencils that is actually going to suit us. And yeah, Beauty Innovation went from there. And then in the same year, in 2016, Kryolan South Africa. It's a makeup brand. They do professional and theatre makeup right across the world. And they were one of my suppliers for Novio. And I went to a meeting with them, team partner, and they said to me, well, let's go retail. They're doing retail stores all across the country. They've got several in KZN, they've got several in Joburg, and they're doing really well, and I should do a retail store in Bloemfontein. And I'm thinking, have you been to Bloemfontein? Where am I going to do a retail store for professional priced and quality makeup? And again, it was 3 weeks from when we decided we're going to do it to when we opened. And I just closed my eyes and went for it again. Negotiated with the owner of Kryolan South Africa, and they gave me certain time to pay off my consignment stock that they gave me to start the store, and ripped my savings to shreds and kitted out a store in Danpinor and went from there. And we've been open now for a year and a bit, and that's been going really well. And yeah, earlier this year we started Beauty Innovation Concept Salon, which is a beauty salon that basically comes from Novio. If I have to envision my perfect client, I've created my perfect client. So now I want to go and mimic that in other salons.
Wow. Yeah. So you've listed 4 different businesses, and as Richard mentioned about me, you never really know what Leslie does. So how did you position yourself to be Jaclyn is the owner, do people identify with you as the owner of all of these companies? How did you go about that brand identity, being recognized as the owner? Was there a conflict with that at all?
I'll be honest, this is something that has been very challenging to me, and it's definitely been one of my biggest business challenges. Especially in the beauty industry, I suppose it's like any industry, it can be very judgmental and people put you in a box. And that's your box and you stay in your box. Now I climbed out of my box, now it's like, okay, but how dare you? So it was very challenging in the sense of, for example, the retail store. So now I'm doing wholesale and I'm selling wholesale products to salons to resell to their clients. Now I've got a retail store that also sells to their clients. However, I just positioned it to my clients differently. So you would like to be part of a brand that is noticed and that is recognized and that is respected. So now I've opened an above standard cosmetic store that represents that brand. It's very small. You've got the relationship with your clients. I'll help you build that relationship further. So they'll still come buy from you. My clients are men off the street that weren't necessarily affiliated with a specific salon or that were perhaps buying Kryolan to start with. But now in your salon you tell them, oh, I stock Kryolan. Oh, awesome, that shop over there. Oh, okay, I saw it. Or I saw they were part of this event or they're part of this function. So now you're actually building brand awareness. So if you're going to position it correctly, then it made it easier, I realized. And then last year I went through a branding process with Pietri and Irma from Cheeky Fig. And I made a joke the other day and I said to Pietri, when you gave me my branding, I thought that you were thinking way too big and this box was too big for me to fit in. And now I'm at a point where the box is actually too small because we need to do an extension of that brand. So what we did is we did the Jaclyn Ivy Beauty Collection, and that is myself, represents me as an individual. I've tried to keep that true and authentic to myself, so we started a blog, Ivy Inspires. Ivy is my second name, and it comes from my grandmother, and Ivy Inspires goes about what inspired me, and that I can bring that to you so that could hopefully inspire you. And Ivy Inspires, the blog just basically goes about what I feel like writing that is connected to business and beauty and that kind of thing. So the articles that I wrote so far, for example, was business and breakups. I went through a breakup at the time and I just realized how relevant it is to business and that we think we can separate personal and business, but we actually can't. So what would be your coping mechanisms in that case? And then I want a business, now what? So what would be my advice that I would say, what came from there? So the blog and the branding definitely helped. And then from there, I've been using a business coach for 2.5 years, and it's helped me a lot. And we had the discussion about it, under which brand do you push? Which brand do you push the most? Under which do people recognize you? So what we decided to do is to bring all the brands under Novue. And Novue is my main baby. And Beauty Innovation is a supplier and it's a brand just as what any of my other brands would be, Kryolan or Nessie or Smart Buy. So bring it in as a brand and push the rest and all my energy and everything I've got into my Novue as a brand and into my team for Novue. And then of course my retail goals are then a subdivision of Novue. So it's been extremely challenging, especially my businesses are all related to each other, but at the same time they're very different. So it just goes about breaking that box and deciding not to stick to the box that people put you into.
And perhaps this could translate to some advice. It's very popular at the moment for entrepreneurs to be labeled as serial entrepreneurs, but flipping businesses. So they'll start one and try and get it sold, or start it up, get what they get out of it, and then shut down, start another one. You've got all of these running simultaneously. Would you advise an aspiring entrepreneur that would want to be in that position to do that, or do you think you can handle it and wouldn't advise somebody to do it?
I'm a woman, I'm emotionally attached. I get very attached to all of my businesses, and I get very attached to my staff, and I get very attached to my clients. So I can't imagine ever having to flip any one of my businesses. Although I suppose realistically a person would have to think of it from a business point of view at a point. However, that's not something I'm considering now or in the near future. It is challenging, however, a philosophy of the Action Coach franchise that we're part of is work on your business, not in your business. And for that, I've got my staff. And my team have really been incredible in helping me get to that point. So the whole point is that if you run your business correctly, if you trust your staff enough, if you hire the correct staff and you invest enough in their upskill, in their education, in their development, then they're going to get you a point where you no longer need to work in your business and can work on your business. And again, we were joking about it earlier, but I get bored very easily. So my biggest challenge when it comes to that is it gets to the point where it feels like they take everything away from me, and I walk into work and I get all depressed because it feels like there's nothing for me to do. So I'll go through phases where I've got like 4 hours of work a day, and then the rest of the day I'll just lounge out, or I'll find something to blog about or research or decide what my next business venture is going to be. And I think that's part of why I went for multi-businesses, is when I get bored, then I do the next one. So I don't think you should ever stagnate.
And you say partnership didn't work for you. So do you collaborate at all with local businesses, nationally, internationally? Is that something that I believe that there's an affiliation with you and Miss Free State. Could you elaborate on that and how it's contributed to the success of your businesses?
I was given advice many years ago that a partnership is a sinking ship. And I thought he was making a joke, and I didn't take it seriously. Went into a partnership, it is a sinking ship. I think if you've got the right partner, I think if you've got the right relationship with a business partner, I think then you will be able to perhaps do more than what you would have on your own. I'm one of those people, I'll rather suckle on my own, and I'll rather use my mentors and everything that's available to me and do it on my own and know that I don't have to lose anything because of a poor decision made by a partner. But that's just my personality. I'm a control freak. But when it comes to collaborations and affiliations, I'm a big fan of it. No man is island. You're not going to be able to do anything on your own. So yes, we are affiliated with Miss Free State. We're one of their sponsors for this year. Very excited to be working with them. And definitely myself and Pietri are looking at a couple of workshops that we're going to be doing in the future. Basically, students transitioning to the professional world. So now what? How do you go about that style profile? How do you go about the makeup, the hair? How do you go about handling yourself? All that kind of thing. And then the other one's going to be from professional working lady to mommy. Now you still need to be professional, but now... So just those kind of collaborations. So we'll definitely be doing that. And then as for the rest, wherever there's opportunity. So I'm definitely a big fan of collaborations, big fan of working with people. Build your network, and you can definitely help each other, and you'll be able to achieve so much more by tapping into each other's resources instead of just exhausting your own.
And now I'd like to jump to, have you got a story? Do you remember what your lowest point as an entrepreneur was?
I think there'll probably be 2 points. The first one was the business partner. It wasn't all bad, but what happened is Novi grew to a point where I needed to make the decision between spending all my time and focus at Novi, because at that point I was lecturing at CUT as well, so I basically had 3 jobs. And I had to choose between spending more time at Novu and growing that business and pushing everything into it, or splitting my time between the salon that we'd built up together, but where I was doing most of the admin work and the manual work. And it was taking a lot of my time versus less income that was coming in. Whereas Novu was a high income potential, but it was going to take all of my time. And I made the decision to resign and walk away without anything. So basically all those years that I'd put into the salon, I literally just walked away from it to just end the fight, end all the arguments, end everything, and to be able to just immediately push everything into Novu. And I remember feeling extremely defeated, but in hindsight, it's probably the best things I could have done, cutting all ties and just moving on. So sometimes it is a good idea to just cut your losses and move on. And then the second would be, as I said to you guys, I'm a control freak. And at the end of October last year, they found a tumor in my stomach wall, in the muscle wall. And they booked me in for surgery immediately within a week. It was 5 by 5 by 5 centimeters, so it was quite big. And I was booked off for 8 weeks that I had to lie on my back. And it was ridiculous because my team know I like to micromanage. I micromanage as far as what I possibly can, and then even those little tasks I'll micromanage. And I was put in a position where literally within a week I had to let go. I had to give it all to them, and I wasn't allowed to work. I couldn't drive. So I just had to chill it out for 8 weeks, basically. Perfect timing, November, December. So I had a really good holiday. But I won't make it. It was very demotivating to know that your team's going on and all these ideas that you get, because now you're lying on your back, so you get 1,000 ideas of the different businesses you now want to start or grow or ventures that you want to take on, and you literally can't. You can send an email, and that's about what you can do at that point. So a few lessons that came out of there. Firstly, trust my team. They definitely surprised me. Not that I ever thought that they couldn't do it, but I don't think I would allow them to do it without me. So they definitely had to show me that they could do it, and they did, hands down. And they brought us through 2 months successfully. We didn't make a loss. We grew with clients. At the beginning of the year, we were able to restructure throughout the company, and that was definitely a low, but turned into a good high as well.
And you have been nominated for a couple of awards, and last year won Young Entrepreneur of the Year. What was your highest point in entrepreneurship? Were those accolades something that reinforced your successes, or is it perhaps something in your day-to-day operations that's a absolute high for you?
I think the BIFA awards were definitely a high for me. It was a week after I was operated, so I was there against my doctor's recommendations with my brace and all. And after a stint in the emergency room, we had the award ceremony the same night. And I didn't think I was going to get it. I was up against Tabu. And at the beginning of the awards, I told him that my money was on him. And I knew that we'd been nominated and we'd do it quite well. And what was, I think, my ultimate high over there was we were 2 tables. We were quite a big team from the Free State that were there. And I think we won 4 awards between the Free State team. And it was like everyone around our table, like one after another. It was all the Free State people. And we're competing against these huge national businesses. And it's after this full 2-day conference. And you're already so motivated and you're on an absolute high. One of the speakers was Travis Bell, the bucket list guy. And he's just challenging you to push your boundaries and go for it, and sky's the limit. And after this, we've got these awards, and everyone next to us from the Free State are winning these huge business awards. So not just my win, but the win of everyone with us was so satisfying to be able to look at all these businesses and say, okay, well, we're from the Free State, we represent. So I won my category, Young Entrepreneur of the Year. And we came top 3 in Female Entrepreneur of the Year and also Retailer of the Year. So it's definitely a high. I think being an entrepreneur is sometimes a lone journey. Everyone's there for the highs and you're often alone for the lows. And something like that just makes it also worth it. It just shows you, you know what, it is recognized. You've got that pat on the back. We all need it at the end of the day, whether we say we do or not.
Awesome. And yeah, so I'd like to go in all of this. We spoke about your mom being a support, your lows and your highs. You spoke about mentors and your collaborations. Do you find support in the community of Bloemfontein? Why Bloemfontein? What have you found here that has kept you budding and passionate about being here?
It's ridiculous. I literally don't think I would be where I am if I'd been anywhere else. The Bloemfontein community are so much more willing to support each other. We are so much more willing to tap into our resources for each other. Of my biggest mentors are definitely in Bloemfontein. Brenda Myberg being the lady who sold Novi to me. She's still a very big part of my life, and she mentored me right through the first 2 years, especially when I bought Novi. And till today, I can phone her and I can moan about a client, and I can moan about staff, and we see each other once a week for sales. So unfortunately, she hears it all. And she's just always there for me, her and her husband and her family, definitely. And then my business coach, definitely. He has helped us a lot, and my team also work with him. So he's also served as a mentor. My accountant, he's definitely helped me a lot. I usually go to the 2 of them with a lot of my financial decisions. They know me well enough to tell me jaag aan, or okay, go for it. I think this is a good option. Yeah, and then if you just take it even further, if you find mentors and support, if you take Yolandi and Tony and Pietri, and then Pietri's always eager to jump in on our shoots and to help us when I've got crazy ideas, because usually they are last minute. I've really definitely found a very big support network in Bloemfontein. Even owners of the salons, my clients, a lot of them that will still do breakfasts and just speak to them about my challenges and any advice that they might have as my client, as my mentor, as my friend.
And I'd just like to ask, because we're living in a digital era, how has technology at all enhanced? Do you use it? Social media marketing, social media accounts as technology. How do you use technology to enhance your business, if at all?
It's a love-hate relationship, by far. Let's start at my accounting system. 2 years ago, we decided to go cloud accounting, and it's been very challenging finding consultants that are actually going to support us right through. Novio is a complex business. We've got a couple of thousand items. We've got a lot of different brands. We've got a lot of different sizes. So it's a very big inventory to have to help us with. And we're getting there slowly, but we're getting there. It's definitely helped. The online system definitely makes the hours that I physically have to be in office less, and it makes checking up your financial stuff easier. However, it is a big challenge to just first get that system into place. My retail stores, the system works extremely well. Novi's still a bit of a challenge, but we're getting there. Then when it comes to marketing and your social media platforms, definitely, it's been huge for us. To the point where a month ago we employed Zalanda, and she's just finished at the varsity, and she's specializing now in our social media and marketing specifically. You need to be present on social media. The consumer mind and the consumer behavior has changed completely. And if you're not going to adapt to that, especially in our kind of industry, then you're going to lose those clients. A lot more people are going for online shopping. They're finding you on Facebook. They're not taking leaflets at the robots anymore. They're not finding your number in the telephone directory. I don't know when last I saw a telephone directory. So if you're not going to be present on those platforms, and it doesn't have to be rocket science to be present on those things. We've taken a step further, and we've employed someone full-time to actually start helping us with that kind of thing. However, there's a lot of classes in Bloemfontein, short workshops that are being offered for your Google+, for Facebook, Instagram, all those kind of marketing platforms. So you just need to look out for them, and I would definitely recommend that you go for it, and that you go find out how to attend these workshops, and then how to actually implement that information into your specific business, and drive it from there. The positive of this is it's a lot cheaper than what marketing back in the day is. Obviously, using your social media is a lot cheaper than what it is printing flyers, printing posters, driving from client to client. So if you're going to do it right, you're definitely going to save on costs. However, if you're not going to do it right, it can really cost you a couple of grand on the wrong website developer, for example.
And before we open up for questions from the audience, have you got that one piece of advice that you would give, either industry advice or any aspiring entrepreneur? One piece of advice.
I think I would definitely go with start small. We all think big, but you can grow into that big dream. But start small, and start with something that's manageable. Start with something that you're actually going to be passionate about. We don't all do it. We all do it for the passion, but you can't eat passion at the end of the day. You need to be able to buy your food and wine and odd beer. So, so you need to be able to make a profit out of it. But if you're going to start small and you're going to stick to something that you've got a passion for, or that can at least grow into your passion, then you need to go with it. And then secondly is mentors, the people you surround you with. You definitely need to pick people that are within your industry, outside of your industry, people that you look up to, people that have been through the road with you, or similar to you. You're going to have to find those kind of people and first speak to them before you start, and be open to their advice, be open to their critique. It's not always easy to take the critique from people, and at the same time, don't feel bad to not take their advice. So definitely start small, find a really good mentor, and cash flow. Try to stay away from debt as far as possible. Sometimes we do need to make debt, but rather start smaller and make minimum debt and save up for what you need. Because the biggest mistake a lot of startup businesses, I see it in the beauty industry all the time. Daddy buys you a salon, you go for your heart's desire, design, mirror, chair, everything. It costs thousands of rands, and at the end of the day, you can't replace it, you can't maintain it. They live out of the till, and within a couple of months, that business folds. So if you're going to follow those three, then I'm sure you'll be okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm just playing. It smells like coffee in here. Hello. It's been long since I heard a speaker that is so refreshing and crisp. I don't know. First question, I just want to ask, how is OCC Patti doing? Is she doing well? How is she? How far is she? Is she interested in opening a business of her own in the near future? Do you want to answer that, or should I ask all questions? I just have 3 questions.
Okay, one at a time. Okay, so Patti unfortunately left me about 2 years ago. She had family that opened a business, and she went and worked for the family business, and she also wanted to spend more time with her daughter. So it was less hours for her within her family business. So sadly, she left us. Last I heard, it's going well with her and with her daughter, and yeah, miss her, but unfortunately, she's not with me anymore.
Second question, what was the last book you read, and what is the next book you're going to buy?
I'm terrible with books in the sense of I read 3 at once. So I've got all these books lying around the house that are like half read, quarter read, with all my bookmarks in. Believe it or not, I never read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. So my last trip to an airport, I love buying books when I go to the airport and I sit there reading. And that's actually the one that I'm currently busy with. And then also Madness's book, 90 Rules. There are 90 tips.
Third question, third and last question. It's funny because I can relate to you perhaps in the slightest, because last week I was in Midrand for business, what's so not, and I was with a business partner. And as soon as we touched base in Johannesburg, he went AWOL. I later found out that he went to his ex, and I could relate 100% when you said partnerships are a sinking ship. But in any case, have you ever thought of writing a book of your own? I'd be the first customer.
Funny enough, I've always enjoyed writing. However, I never published a lot of it. And then a few years ago, Lona Erasmus was doing Soccer, and she asked me to write for her blog for the beauty page. And I was like, oh my word, what am I going to write? And once I started writing, I actually really, really enjoyed it. And when they scaled down with Soccer, I carried on with my own blog. So I've got a couple of unpublished articles that I'm still busy with. And I don't think it's something I would be close to, although it's probably not something that would happen in the near future. But I do believe in sharing our stories, and not just our wins, but our failures as well. Because I think our failures is the one thing that we tend to hide the most. And those are actually the things that entrepreneurs need to share with us, and what I wished a lot more people had shared with me, so that I would have been careful of those same things. Probably wouldn't have listened, but...
Sorry, I was given the mic, so... yeah, Jaclyn, I just want to say that I'm sure me and you know each other now, right? From the driving to the airport in the Uber, you guys taking us to the beach at 3 a.m., Tony, you know. With all that being said, I don't buy people's faces, okay? And I'm not going to buy yours. But there's one thing that I'll tell you. I think from somebody where, you know, people tell you day to day that you inspire them, you are one person. You inspire me to the point where I get winner place. Honestly, and every time, even when I go for my coaching session, you know, the coach will share with us how other clients are doing, and then we start talking about you. I think I just want to say that, one, you're a woman with balls. 2, I think, and what the gentleman is saying there, I think this is just a comment, or maybe it's a question and a comment. It's something I would recommend. I think you are one true example of a practical business encyclopedia, because a lot of people think they know business from reading it. others do business and it knocks them and they think that's what business is all about. I think you've taken both the positive and the negatives. I don't know how you navigated yourself through it and with all your experience. So from my side, I don't know if I should do it as a suggestion or ask you, wouldn't you consider maybe more than even a book, a session like this with young upcoming businesswomen, because I have not found a 30-year-old who understands business like you do. Every time we talk, I'm telling you, I don't know. It looks like you've done it for years with all your experience, to inspire these young people and help them, because I think, like you say, in talking about mentors, I can tell you right now, I don't know any 30-year-old with your expertise. So I'm not sure, would you consider it, to sort of sit in a forum like this, either once a week, once a month, just to help develop these young people. I think you'll save them a lot of failure going forward, so to say. Okay.
Challenge accepted. Thanks, Saba, I appreciate it. But yes, I would definitely be open for it. It's something I feel strongly about. It doesn't help we just harbor everything we've learned. It's not just mine. What I know came from my mentors, and they shared it with me, so I do have a responsibility to share it with others.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Jaclyn, thank you. You are really like an inspiration, I can put it that way. But I just want to kind of know more about Novel. And I think as a young, growing entrepreneur, one thing that I want to actually to do is to actually add value in people's life. And my question is that as Jaclyn with Novel, what is that value that is actually adding into young people or even older people? And next question is just to ask, what are your future prospects that we can expect?
Okay, so you'll notice our tagline is professional supplies and education. So we decided to mix it up a little bit. So traditionally our industry is known for reps that come and knock on your door and they'll sit in your waiting area until you've got time to see them, and they'll page through a catalog with you, take your order, and they'll go and see you in 6 weeks. So that's traditionally how our industry works. So we've shaken it up a little bit, and we are all about education. So if we take you on as a client, we choose who our clients are, firstly. If you come to us, if you're a one-man business and you've got passion, you've got purpose, we'll take you on as a client. If you're just not quite sure where you want to be, we'll try to guide you to be a little bit more passionate, and we can only take you so far. But basically our niche at Novu is education. So what we will do is we've got a full-time educator, Bianca, and she will go see a client and she will go and assess what is the client's needs. Are they a spa? Are they a small salon? Are they a one-man band? What are the hours that they can work? Then we will focus on a product range that will best work for them. So let's say, for example, it's makeup. Then we not only sell the makeup to her, but we'll give her workshops on her and her staff on how to sell the makeup. And we go as far as actually hosting workshops for them, selling the product to their clients. The salon will take the full amount of profit. However, their success is our success. So the better they do in their workshops and promotions, we'll do the same for skincare. We'll literally line their clients up, and they'll come throughout the day, and we'll scan their skins, and Bianca will do a full consultation with the client, and she will do retail recommendations for them, and then we usually supply consignment stock for that day so that the client can immediately buy, and then the salon can use that profit that they make from those workshops, and she can afford her opening order, so that she's actually got the option of stock on her shelf to sell in further retail. So that is why we go on salon supplies and education. We focus very strongly on education. Last year we moved into bigger premises where we've now got our own training facilities. There was a big need for that because our trainings had to be quite pricey when we had to pay for venues. So by having our own fully equipped venue where we can now provide the trainings, we can make it a lot cheaper for the salons to attend. So we cater mostly for already qualified beauty therapists, and we host upskill workshops. So you learned 20 years back how to wax, and you've been doing it like that from your small salon for the last 20 years, but now in between there's been a lot of developments. So myself and my educators go to all the Joburg trainings, we go to all the international trainings, we've got one in Barcelona coming up, and we go to that, and then we'll bring that back to them and educate them. So the Bloemfontein salon no longer has to feel that she's behind because she's not in Cape Town or Johannesburg. We bring that to them. So when it comes to value, our value is education, and we feel very strongly about it. We don't just give you a product, we actually teach you how to sell our product. Sorry, and your second question was? Oh, what's next? At the moment, I just did the concept salon, so it's a very small beauty salon. I always said I would never, ever, ever do it again. And the opportunity just came at the right time. Again, just snowballed. So getting the salon just off its feet, we're getting there. And then I'm definitely looking at expanding my retail stores. I'm looking at a second site for a second store in Bloemfontein. So in negotiations now, so I won't give too much away. But definitely the retail store expanding a little bit, and then hopefully get time to just focus more on the mentoring and writing and letting my team take it from there.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Gonelo. Jaclyn, there's something interesting about people that are able to run a number of businesses at the same time. I'm a very big fan of Richard Branson. And now that I'm in a room with somebody who's able to do that, I'd just like to ask, what personal transition did you go through whereby you knew that now is time to grow and move on to the next opportunity, a much bigger opportunity as an entrepreneur? Because I kind of believe that that is one of the most important things that determines, an entrepreneur's character, sort of determines if you're able to grow or, reach a ceiling. So what personal transition did you go through whereby you knew this is my next opportunity?
I think for me, I'm in the fortunate position to be living my passion, and I don't think a lot of people are in that position. For me, it's easy. I just need to visualize it. So I take it from supply chain to end consumer. So if you're going to go think of that whole straight line. So my first business starts with the supply chain, and that's beauty innovation, where we start with the developing. The second business goes into Novu. Now we need to get that out to the wholesale market. So we sell and educate to the wholesale market. And then from there, I need to get into their minds, because now with the retail stores, I need to go from wholesale to selling to the retail. So at the end of the day, what all this allows me to do is to become a professional in my field, and to become so much more educated in my field of the beauty industry. Because not only if a retail client now comes to me and tells me, oh, but I can't find the right foundation or whatever, I can advise her as to what stores to go to, not necessarily mine, but whichever's closest to her, and what to look for in the staff that's going to help her and that kind of thing. At the same time, a wholesale business can tell me that they're struggling to make revenue at the end of the month. And I can now teach them how to better educate their staff, how to better educate their clients, how to change the consumer beliefs to rather buy from them. So being part of multi-businesses, it can be confusing, but your mindset needs to be right. So for me, it went about visualizing it from supply chain right down to retail, and to go and visualize my perfect world. What did I wish my supplier was like when I had my salon? What did I wish was available to me as a consumer when I was shopping for makeup and nail products? So definitely when it comes into your visualization. I'm a big fan of Richard Branson. I've also got his books, 3 of them that are half read. But what I love about his books is that it's short stories. And what I love about it most is that he shares a lot of his failures. Probably more than what he'll go on about his biggest successes. So that also just helps you get into the right mindset, and just to realize that if something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. It feels like it at that moment, but glass of wine, girls' night, there you go. Get over it, cry it out, and get up tomorrow morning, put on your heels, and take on the next day.
Jaclyn, thank you so much for chatting to us tonight. That's a wrap. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Enjoy the rest of the evening.